Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lessons Learned, the dumbest thing I've ever done with money. My name is Suzanne. I am the head coach at Grace Financial Coaching, and I am honored to welcome my longtime friend at this point. My goodness, it's been a couple years, Danika Foley Long. Welcome, Danika. Danika wears many hats. She is the host of KWBJ's The Voice of the Coast, as well as a news director, reporter, public speaker. She's also the founder and creator of I Be Damned blog, which is a series of social media pages. They are hilarious, ladies, but it is meant to empower women to balance their personal and professional lives while having a sense of humor. Danika also has started Keen Vision Consulting, a brand management company that works with clients on social media platforms to build consistent engagement and to inform and educate the public. Danika, so good to see you.
Girl, you made me sound so good. I'm like, is that me? Oh my God. I
was going to read this whole list of your awards, but we only got 20 minutes. So
no, not needed at all. I am here. I'm excited. And oh, look who made it. I'm sorry. Give me a minute.
Yes,
I'm still a newlywed. That's my husband. And look, oh, my friend. Look, I'm sorry. They're just coming in because I think they really want to hear my embarrassing story, but they're here to support me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, they're up bright and early to hear about the dumbest thing that you've ever done with money. So before we get to that, Danika and I met on a page for people who have podcasts, but I really got to know her voice on the I Be Damned blog social media pages. And like I was saying, it is hilarious. And then it's mixed in with this great advice. Every once in a while, there'll be a post and I'll just read it and I'll go, I got to reread that. And tell us why you started I Be Damned in the first place.
So at the time, I was in my 30s, early 30s, and I just started having feelings of burnout. It's like, my God, I kind of self-diagnosed myself with depression. I was just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. I really didn't have a balance on my personal life and my professional life. And I'm like, are there other women that feel the same way? Do they have these, well, I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. Do they have these I'll be damned moments? And so that's kind of how it came to life. It was birthed. And it really was to find a tribe of my own, but also for other women to connect. And it really has blown up to be a place where you find motivation, because this is not just for everybody else. This is for me. I am speaking to myself. This is, I'm not here to say, oh, I'm a guru, I know it all. No, I need a little motivation and inspiration in my life because I battle with imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
I have this little voice in my head sometimes that rears its ugly head that says, don't do that. Danika, you don't need to do that. Just stay where you are and be comfortable.
You're not good enough to get that done. You're not good enough to execute on this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was just looking for other people, other women particularly, who felt the same way. And there had to be more to life than just work and home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. You guys got to follow I Be Damned blog. Check it out on social media, Facebook. It's hilarious. So the other thing I wanted to ask about is Keen Vision Consulting. This you have started since I've met you. So tell us what this is all about.
Yes, well, as you mentioned, I actually, right now I'm working with a client where I put out consistent information to inform, educate, and entertain, but it has to speak to a certain brand. The brand has its own message, and so you can't just say, oh, I'm going to post about, oh, the weather's nice. No, what message are you really trying to convey, and how are you trying to persuade your audience to also say, oh, I understand what you're saying, and yes, and they're going to come back and they're going to follow. They're going to they're going to start to believe the message that you're putting out, because sometimes we need a little persuading. We need folks to tell us and also shape that perception, because in our minds we may say, well, okay, no, I feel this way about a particular thing. I don't like them, this and that. But once you start to shape their minds and you start to say, well, hey, have you thought about it this way?
Yeah.
It's a little psychology involved, but that's what it is, and that's what Keen Vision Consulting is about. I work with companies and clients and provide consistent messaging for their brands.
Yeah, I love it. Let's go back to your original career, your news reporting. I always thought this was fascinating. So tell us how you got into that.
Well, I feel like I'm old now. Like, where do I start? So, of course, in high school, I don't know about you. I don't know what your parents may have told you, but I was always taught you're going to college, you're going to college. And I said, oh, I guess I'm going to college. And I thought even about going into the military, but I still didn't have a clue as to what I was going to study. What was I going to do? And I had a teacher that saw something in me, and she said, Danika, have you ever thought about being a reporter or a lawyer? Now, sometimes I think back, I said, what if I'd gone that lawyer route? maybe that would have been also something I would have thrived at as well. But
Mhm.
I would always do public speaking. I started off in at 6 years old, a little, maybe around 6 years old, always doing a lot of public speaking in church. Church
Ah,
is where you kind of get your feet wet, and everyone at church is like family. So you don't feel like you're getting up and you're talking to a bunch of strangers unless you have a lot of visitors in the audience. But I would do engagements at school, and it just kind of felt almost natural to me. I didn't have a problem with it. Of course, I still get nervous even now, but it was just something that I gravitated towards. And so she told me that, and I always watched the news, and my family, news was something we watched every night. And so I
mm.
started to study it. And I said, wow, I think I really could do this. I like this. And one of the reporters and anchors, I always admired her. And she came to my school. It was almost
Oh,
as if that was
cool.
a sign. She came to my school right after my teacher told me about, thinking about my future. She came to the school. I listened to her. She gave so much great advice, and I was sold. And pretty much that's how I decided I'm going to school for journalism. I think I found what it is that I'm good at. And I
Right.
love listening and hearing and relaying a person's story. If I could sit down and talk to someone in their 80s, 90s, 70s and just listen to their stories, it is remarkable. But you know what? It doesn't mean I have to talk to someone who's elderly or, a part of the aging population. Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story, and sometimes you surprise yourself that you're like, wow, I'm kind of a remarkable individual. But I love that part of the job.
Oh, I love that you love that because I think people who conduct interviews today, it's a kind of a lost art, unfortunately. I remember grew up in New York, and so we listened to a lot of AM radio. Just being in the car. My mom had 3 kids, right? So you get to a certain age and she's in the car all the time. And we listened to a lot of AM radio. Being in New York, being exposed to the largest media market, you get exposed to really good announcers for baseball games, that kind of thing. And I'll watch some people on national news platforms, and they're not really good interviewers. They are, they are reading from it. You can have it. I don't begrudge anybody having a script. I got a script right here. I was just telling Danika about it before we started. But the engaging part, the feeling that the person who's doing the interviewing of the subject is really invested and interested. I feel like that's a lost art these days.
Oh, yeah. Well, everyone wants to be a reporter now. All you need is a phone.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, that's the discouraging part about being in journalism. And of course, you still have to combat fake news. Now, one thing about myself, I feel like we are not affiliated with any big name networks. We are independently owned. And I tell people all the time, what you see is what you get.
Hmm.
So I don't add any fillers. I'm not into sensationalizing anything. What you see is what you get. And I do tell the people that I interview, I say, look, I'm going to ask you these questions. You just have to show up and be able to answer it in a way that makes sense. I'm not going to throw you under the bus, but I am going to ask the questions that is on the mind of so many people.
Oh,
But I'm
yes.
not going to lead you, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to throw you under the bus. But it's up to you as the person who's being interviewed to know, okay, this is what I need. I know this information. I need to, give it to the public. So
Yeah.
I just, but I also feel like the public who steps into the shoes of being reporters, when they put out false information,
Yeah.
oh, well, sorry, I got the wrong information. Sometimes they don't even apologize.
Oh,
Where's
yeah.
where's the ethics? And I
Yeah.
feel like people have gotten away from that, even some of the professionals. People are not ethical anymore, but I have a lot of integrity in me, and I cannot sit up here and give you something that's not true because I could not sleep at night.
No, good. And it makes me feel better that that there are still people out there like you. So speaking of telling us the truth, Danica, I
Great
created this
segue, by the
show.
way. Great segue.
Yeah, I created this show so that people realize we all make financial mistakes. But the cool part is you can learn from the mistakes of others so you don't make those mistakes. So, Danika, what is the dumbest thing you've ever done with money?
How much time do we have? I know you said 20 minutes. And is it only one thing? I know
There's
it's
one
a
thing this time.
process.
We'll have you back like a dozen more times. Don't worry. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, I can really bare my soul. Well, I
Right.
will tell you the first dumbest thing that I've ever done that I still, if I could give any advice to anyone going off to college, is do not fall victim to the credit card hall of fame or hall of shame. Because I said, oh, credit cards, why not? And I was working at the time, thought, okay, well, I'm working, but I need a little extra money. So I'm going to get a credit card. Well, silly me thinking that I can get a credit card. And at the time, I was a I'm a reformed fast food eater because I was eating out every
Oh,
day and sometimes twice a day when I was in college. I would eat lunch and then I would eat dinner because I spent a lot of my time at school on the college campus. So there was no time to go home, cook a meal, and
right.
sit down and eat. It was spin, 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 and eat, eat, eat. And you know, they say the freshman 15, baby. I think I did the freshman 30. I
Oh,
put
amen.
on the pounds during that time, but that was
Mm-hmm.
because I had access to that card. I spent it on gas, I spent it on food, I spent it on clothes, and I just was swiping and swiping away, not thinking that interest rates. I mean, I had no clue. I didn't think about any of it. I just thought, okay, I can pay a little bit here. Oh, paying that minimum. Oh
Oh, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
That's how they
Yeah.
get you. Yes. And before I knew it, I was about $7,000 in debt. That I
Yep.
don't know how that resonates with anyone else, but being a college student, $7,000.
Oh,
Oh no.
that's a whole
Oh,
that's
what
a whole
about
year's
you?
salary in our brains in college, right? You can't even
Yeah.
imagine $7,000. So, what was this still freshman year?
Freshman year, sophomore year.
Okay,
Well, actually, no,
gotcha.
no, it was actually my sophomore year because let me tell you what happened. I will tell you, my parents did have the foresight to, at the time, and I don't think people do that anymore. What is it? Savings bonds. I had savings
Oh,
bonds. Yes. So I had some money saved up. I used that my first year. Oh, spent it all up because my parents said that's what it was for. I'm like, okay, well, great. Again, just no sense of money, no sense of having respect for money. I think that's
okay.
really where it is. No respect for money. So I was fine my freshman year, and I didn't have a car at the time. I got a car my senior year, junior, senior year. So I didn't have to worry about a car, but I had to catch public transportation or I had to catch a ride with a friend. So
Mhm.
I would pay them, gas money, but that didn't draw me up to $7,000 worth of debt. But mostly my sophomore year up until I graduated.
Yeah. When where did you get the credit card from?
At
Did
school.
you so it was set up at school to entice college students to
Yeah.
sign up right then and there. We have made this convenient. You do not need to go to Bank of America down the road. We are here right now. We are here today.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They were calling me like sirens. Come to me. Come to me. Yes.
It's so true though, and it still goes on today on college
Hmm.
campuses, right?
Yes.
And so if someone watching this can show this to their son or daughter who are 15 or 16, or if you are of college age and watching this, there's a reason they're on campus. They're not there because they're bored of sitting in the bank. Okay.
Yes.
They're doing this because it works.
Yeah.
So what would you well, first of all, how did we get out of the 7,000?
Well, I had to settle. I
Okay.
had to settle. So I managed to, and I don't think that was the right thing to do either, but I did. I settled for, instead of paying out the $7,000, I think I was asked to pay either 2,500 or $3,000.
Okay.
And so I settled with, doing that with the help of my parents. I believe maybe it was my mom who actually came with the bulk of it. And of course, whatever I had saved up as well. Because I mean, I was working at the time, believe it or not, I had about 3 jobs. When I
Wow.
say that, I'm like, how, when, where did you find the time? And you were also in school. So I'll tell you how that was. I had a work study. That did not come to me. So yes, so while I worked for the school. That money
Yep.
went right back into the school. And then I actually worked, I had a job with the government, believe it or not, but it was a college like internship, but I got paid from it. And my other job, and I have to tell you more about it, I worked on Bourbon Street. A lot of folks
Oh,
say, "Girl, what were you doing on Bourbon Street?" I loved that job. It was great. I actually was it was kind of it kind of helped me hone my journalism chops. So if you were a visitor on Bourbon Street and you were just walking down, I'd stop random folks, say, "Hey, so what brings you down here to Bourbon Street in New Orleans?" Oh, it
oh,
was
that's cool.
wonderful. But that also was just something that I did mostly on the weekends. And then of course I had the Monday through Friday, and then of course I had the Monday through Friday, which was the work study. So yeah, and
Yeah.
then of course going to class every day.
I actually, it's funny, my senior year, I had a full schedule like that to the point where I actually went inactive in my sorority because I said, I can't do three jobs, an internship. Was taking extra credits because I had changed my major late. And I was
Yeah.
like, girls, I can't even make it to meetings on Wednesday night. I got to work Wednesday night, so
Mhm.
I totally feel you. And I look back and I go, were there 48 hours in one day back then? How did I
Right.
do this?
Well, speaking of sorority, I thought about joining a sorority in college. And when I looked at my schedule, oh, heck no. I had some of the girls look to me to recruit me. I said, y'all just got to catch me on the flip side because right
Yeah.
now I don't even have room to say hello to my family as I'm heading out the door.
Yeah, exactly. One of your friends here has a great comment. I speak being financially responsible all the time to my girls. It's so easy to get into debt and so hard to get out. Oh my God, we could just stop right now, right? You can
Yes.
wander into debt, but you cannot wander out. It is going to be painful coming out of it, right?
Can I add this? And I
Yeah.
first and foremost I applaud Tranisha, and also I saw Jason was here as well. I think if I could have any power within the legislation or within our school boards, I really think we should have some type of curriculum in high school, maybe even in junior high, that could teach financial literacy. I feel like that is an issue within our school system. Our
Mhm.
parents don't know. I can tell you, my mom, yes, she has a financial advisor, she has someone that helps her. But could she tell me how
Right.
to manage my money? No, we tell our kids save your money, a penny a day, all these different things. But what does that really mean?
No, right, exactly, and that's how my parents, unfortunately, they showed they took good actions, right? But they never took the time to sit down and say, "Hey, this is why we don't sign up for every store credit card that we walk into. But this is why we sign up for some of them. And this is what we do. As soon as the bill comes in, here I am sitting here watch me write the check." So I remember watching my mom pay these off. I remember watching my mom, oh my God, the coupon book. I would pay $1 million to have my mother's old coupon book. This thing was so beat. I mean, it was but
Yeah.
that was the actions. What unfortunately didn't reach me was no one ever sat down, like you said, and said, um, "This is why I'm doing this.
Yes.
Not only am I paying the bill on time, here's why you pay those credit card bills on time."
Yeah.
So, and we got some feedback from your hubby about your most recent credit card philosophy. If we don't have it in cash, we don't spend it in credit. My goodness, I'm just going to stop talking and just start clicking all the comments. And he points out if we do have a balance, we pay it in full each month. And that's the way to do it. If you're going to have credit cards, some people can't have credit cards, right? I mean, I'm sure you have friends out there who you don't want to call it a spending addiction because that's an actual thing, but they have a spending problem and they might
Yeah.
be the people out there who should not have credit cards.
Can I also say this? As I'm thinking about just my life in college, this may have been a trauma I experienced. I didn't think it was a trauma. I really, you know why? Because I think about because I'm looking at my husband, I'm thinking about him commenting, and he comments on my thriftiness. I have become quite a thrifty individual since college. I don't, and I think that's a trauma. I thought
Yeah.
it was, oh, I'm okay with being being thrifty, but that may have very well been a trauma for me. This might be a trigger.
Oh
I
yeah.
need to
Oh yeah.
talk to
I
someone.
interviewed a gentleman a couple weeks ago who was scammed out of $5,000, and he
Oh,
flat out said that I got PTSD from it. He doesn't trust anybody, and so yeah, I'm not making light of PTSD in the sense of
oh
what we
no, no,
usually hear from military members and stuff like that. But no, there is no doubt in my mind you have some level of post-traumatic stress disorder from realizing I am $7,000 in debt and I cannot get out of it.
yes. And
Yeah.
you and I spoke briefly about the renovation project. You're right. Might have to put an S on there that my husband and I are actually undergoing, and that in itself is a trauma,
Yeah.
especially if you have someone who, and I guess you could say we were scammed as well,
Yeah.
because this person never finished the job. It was shoddy work,
Mm,
and we had to contact law enforcement. Why?
yeah.
That's, and we're starting our life together. Oh man, it has been a rocky road, but
Mm.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Our friend Evan here completely agree. Regardless of students' future plans, everyone needs to have a basic understanding of personal finances. Our friend Marissa, oh, that's right. Marissa's dumbest thing was signing up for a credit card in college too.
Oh.
Yep.
And you would think by when we're in college, we would know a little bit better. I didn't. I really, like I said, and I can't blame anyone but myself. But I really was it was quite enticing. It was enticing. It was like, come over here, and you can pay it off anytime. And it was dumb. It was dumb of me.
Your husband's not mad at your thriftiness, but he would like some name brand bread if that's cool the next time you go food shopping. My husband hasn't seen name brand bread since we got married. So sorry,
okay.
You're not getting any.
Do you hear that? That's some of that. Now, how long have you been married, Suzanne?
Going on 2.5, 3 years.
Well, that's cool. You're still ahead of us. So
Yeah.
name brand, you got to deal with the off-brand bread, but maybe I'll get the name brand mayonnaise. I do believe in that.
There you go.
I do believe in that.
You guys use Duke's mayonnaise?
So in Louisiana, the
Yeah.
big thing is Blue Plate.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Yes, girl. Ain't none of that Miracle Whip. Blue Plate is the real deal.
No. And I grew up with Hellman's. And so now where I am in Southern Virginia, we have Duke's. And I think Duke's is good because you can like taste the vinegar in there. But now I'm going to have to look up Blue Plate because,
Oh, yes. I'm telling you. Look,
Exactly.
this whole conversation has gone somewhere else. But
I know, right? I'm like writing down names of mayonnaise.
Yes, but I am definitely a thrifty individual, but I love it. But I do believe quality over quantity.
Yes, definitely. If you're going to spend your money on something, it better be good, right? Exactly. Yeah, Trinisha, oh, she is opening up today. Dumbest thing I ever did was ruined my credit at 18. Read a National Enquirer magazine article that the world was ending, and I went crazy with credit cards and loans. And you know what that's translated to, though? This is a really good point, Trinisha. We're going to go a little bit over today because, Danika, I want to hear your feelings on this. YOLO and FOMO. That is going to ruin what Trinisha just said. The updated version of that is YOLO and FOMO. We only live once, and I'm afraid of missing out. I don't want to be the only one who's not in the Facebook or Instagram pictures. Yes. How much of that media influence do you think is contributing to our student loan being in the trillions?
Oh, well, social media is a gift and a curse. Yeah. And I actually just had a conversation, I believe, maybe with one of my daughters. We talked about that. We talked about do not allow what you see on social media to influence you in a way that it will compromise who you are. And that goes for internally, it goes financially, whatever it may be, because people put out their highlight reel. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And, I do believe live your life to the fullest, but you have to be responsible. You have to be responsible with your life. And also something that I'm also still learning, and that's to be accountable for your own actions. Like I said, I sat up here and I said, yeah, the credit card company lured me in, but I did not have to walk over there. So, yes, we are in this world of, a fear of missing out and YOLO, but whatever you do, be responsible and take accountability for your actions that you do. No one told you and held your hand and said you must sign. You did it yourself, but you have to educate yourself. And
Yeah.
I'm definitely in that stage of being better educated.
Yes, definitely. Marissa agrees, quality over quantity for sure. And we will end on this note. Your husband says, "Thanks, Suzanne. Every time I'm making a sandwich, I'll feel good knowing someone else is eating off-brand bread, but with good mayo."
Oh my goodness. Thank
Well,
you
I
so
know you
much.
have a good partner there who can joke around about eating the off-brand bread. We go to Aldi, so everything's off-brand.
There you go. Yes.
Danika, thank you so much for being honest and vulnerable. And man, there was a lot of wisdom in this episode, so we're gonna have to drop some Instagram clips so
Yeah.
everyone else can hear it. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody who jumped in late, I saw a lot of late people, lots of comments. The replay will be on YouTube tomorrow morning, and I hope you'll join us next week for another episode of Lessons Learned, the dumbest thing I've ever done with money. Thank you, Danika.
Yeah.